Okay, hello everybody. My name is Amanda Pawley and I am Deputy Editor at Professional Beauty. And thank you so much for joining us today for our Digital Skills PB Upskill session. Today we're going to be live with Annette Matthews and we're going to be talking about how to master virtual consultations and upselling. Today's session is sponsored by Shop Beautiful. They're a company passionate about beauty and providing the highest quality products to professional beauty suppliers in the UK. And we'll be popping a URL in the comment box so you can go and check them out and see what they're all about. But yeah, just before I let Annette take over and deliver this fantastic presentation, I'm just going to give you a little summary of what it's going to be about. So learn how to boost your self-esteem as well as your potential salon or clinic income during the pandemic in this skills session. Skin expert Annette Matthews will be teaching a whole host of tips suited to any businesses at any stage. So from marketing skin solutions to creating your first virtual consultation and coming across like a total digital boss to your clients, Matthew is going to be showing you how to offer skin fixes with confidence. Now, if you do have any questions for Annette during this presentation, on Facebook, if you could just put it in the comment box and we'll put them to her at the end. And then on Zoom, if you could please do it in the Q&A box rather than the general chat, that would be brilliant. But Annette, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm just going with the technology and trying to share it on my feed at the same time. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Annette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera and my mic off. I'll let you do your presentation and then I'll come back at the end and do the audience Q&A with you. So yeah, I'll see you at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get a screen share going then. This is where it hopefully goes to plan. So how is everybody doing? What I would like you to do is drop in the chat for me where you're from, what it is that you do, and what's brought you here today. And we're always interested to kind of see what everybody's up to, who everybody is, and what it's all about. So please do that today. And thank you for joining me today. And for those of you that may be watching on a replay afterwards, hello, depending on what time it is. I wonder if you've got a glass of wine. Very, very excited to talk to you. I am quite excited, so I do apologise now. But I'm going to be talking to you about how to master virtual consultations and upselling. This is a very quick kind of flyby approach. There's going to be some things that I'm throwing in there for you to think about. So you might need a pen and paper. That will come up as we go along. So if you haven't got one already, then or an iPad or whatever it is that we use nowadays to write things down. Okay, that would be really, really good. I really want you to benefit from this. I'm proud to be here, sponsored by Shop Beautiful as well, which have a variety of products and things for you to have a little look through and look at from there. So please drop into the chat where it is you're from and what you do, and any questions into the Q&A for the guys to have a little look. So completely overwhelmed with the opportunity to do this. So I will obviously reach out to those of you who let it and allowed it to happen, to put me live on Facebook, Instagram, on the professional beauty pages. I apologise now, but we're talking about upskilling. So this week has been so exciting, and I've seen obviously the speakers that were up and what it is that we're talking about. We have, amongst all of us, been through the absolute mill over the last year and a half, but now is the time to look forward. Easier said than done, I know that. So it's time to look forward, and this is where we're going to start with the virtual consultations. So let's have a little look at what we're going to learn today. So we've already heard this already, the lovely lady who introduced me, how to boost your self-esteem. That's the most important thing. We can't do anything if we're feeling a little bit rotten. So the first thing you need to do is address that. And hopefully there's a few things that I'm going to help you with in terms of that today. My biggest bit of advice is to not be too hard on yourself. If you're having a down day, don't worry about that. If you're having a good day, take a boost from that and remember it for the times where you're having a rubbish day. So also potential clinical income. So income that you can bring in to your salon whilst it's still closed. And some of you might already be doing this. So, I might be teaching you to suck eggs almost, but that's great. Let's have a refresher on some tools and gadgets that we can use to do that. So as I've mentioned, I've just been told I've got around about 30 minutes and I do waffle. As you can probably tell, I'm on slide 1 and already starting to waffle. But we have some, believe it or not, quick fire marketing tips to increase your growth and your clients' expectations. So some little nuggets to take away with you, hopefully today. We're going to create digital savvy virtual consultation processes. We're going to have a little look at some tech fancy stuff. And believe you me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. If you can send an email, if you can log into this webinar, however it is that you have, you'll be able to use these things with a little bit of guidance, okay? We're also going to have a look at preparing educational content, which is so important. So we're going to look at platforms on how we can do this and where we can design these things as well. Plan your comeback, revise your self-esteem, and return with a bang. You know, we're all getting these emails now, like we're returning, it's this, it's that, and we're all on tenterhooks and very tentative about it, rightly so. But what we can be doing is just really, really building the foundations in the background and getting ourselves ready to roll. Because you know what? Let's think in a year's time, we're gonna be like, oh, remember we had all that time in our hands? It will happen, okay? So thank you for joining me for today, and let's continue on. So if you aren't already, please do head on over and give the guys a follow. I assume you are because you're here, but you know, the professional beauty pages you can see on there. There's also the Shop Beautiful. And if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you are more than welcome to. I'd love for you to keep in touch. Please post and tag us in your attendance this afternoon. If anything, it's to help other people see that there is help out there. It's to help other people see there is opportunities to upskill during this downtime that just seems to be going on and on forever. So please do share with others if you are enjoying this afternoon. I look forward to seeing those later on. Okay, so this is the icebreaker. As always, at the beginning of webinars, I like to throw one in. I've not set any polls up, so I am going to rely on interaction in the chat box if you can for me. So my question would be, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And when I typed in superpower, this is the image that came up, and it was just a coincidence. I love leopard print, complete coincidence. But if you could have one superpower, what could it be? I'm looking for things to come in the chat now, guys. So I am relying on you to interact with me, or you're going to hear all about what superpower I want. So please do communicate in the chat with me. If you are on Instagram, whatever it is, what superpower would you like to have? Thank you, Amanda, for sharing that. So everybody pop some answers in there for me. The reason I'm asking this is just to kind of see what sort of mood we're in. It kind of helps me set the webinar in the mood as we're going along as well. That always helps. Let's have a little look. Oh, chat's disabled. Thank you guys for letting us know. Thought I was sat there and nobody wanted to talk. See if the guys can sort that out for us. But anyway, we will move on if we can't get any answers through for this, and you can all tell me at the end afterwards, and or share it on your social media and let me know. But it's always interesting to kind of see. For me, my superpower, what I would like, and it's quite a deep one, I would like to be able to camouflage, okay? I would like to be able to camouflage a bit like a leopard does in its environment. And the reason being for that is because there are times when we want to be out there, and there are times when we just want to curl up in a ball. And even more so in the last few months, definitely. So camouflage would be one of mine. So that hasn't quite worked out I had planned, but we're going to carry on anyway, because that's how we roll. So if you haven't already, grab a pen and paper for me. That would be fantastic, just because there are these little nuggets that I want you to take away with you from today as well. Okay, so hopefully we'll have a bit more interaction now, but who looks like this at the thought of doing a Facebook Live or video? If you could see me 10 minutes before doing this was me sat in the chair where I am now, okay? Raise of hands. Who looks like this at the thought of doing a Facebook Live or a video or something that's going to be out there on social media? Raise of hands. Come on, there must be some sort of interaction out there. I know you are on here. Please tell me if you feel quite nervous and anxious about getting yourself out there on social media. I know I did, and I do, and I still do. I still have times where I'm like, today, you know, you get worked up, you get anxious about these things as well. It was around about 6 months ago, I had a bit of an epiphany really, and it was like, why am I feeling like this? Or why are we feeling like this when we work in the public eye? We are used to having a public facing role. So the amount of people that we see on a daily basis is ridiculous. And yes, okay, once we get something out there on social media, we've got videos out there, it does, you know, it is there forever, but you know what, we can delete it. We can, so we don't have to be reminded. And if we fluff it up, we can always edit it and do things with it even more so. Okay, so don't let this hold you back. But this was me 15 minutes ago before I came on to do this, and even more so now that things aren't working as I wanted it to go. Okay, perfect. So thank you, Amanda. She's just letting me know that many people on Facebook say that's exactly how they feel. Fantastic. So yeah, it's exactly that. So this is me 15 minutes ago, and this is other people when they're just about to start doing something live. But we're going to change that a little bit. And what I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar is self-esteem. You can only put yourself out there if you're feeling on top of your game. You can mask it a little bit, and that's where the camouflage comes in. That's why it's one of my superpowers that I would choose to have. Because whether you're having a good or a bad day, can you remember when we used to work in our clinics and salons and you're having a really rubbish day? You still put that mask on, you still put that charade on it, and you make sure everything is okay and your clients are okay. It's exactly the same when we're doing it across digital media and on these sort of platforms, okay? So we've done it before and we can do it again. We've just got to change how it is that we're doing it. But it will start with self-esteem and feeling good about ourselves, which hopefully we're going to level up from today. So how many face-to-face clients would you normally see on a daily basis? I'm quite spoiled. I own my own clinic and I do try to have around about an hour per client, dependent on the procedures that I'm doing, of course. So, you know, dependent on how many you have on a day-to-day basis, we can level up from that, and we can level up from that with digital media. And that's what we're going to explore a little bit later on. But my point here is we see, I don't know, let's choose a number. 15 clients a day. We see 15 clients a day, so that's 15 people we've put ourselves in front of. We might even have phone calls in between, or we might see other people in the supermarket. So why is it any different when we're putting ourselves out there on social media? It is no different. It is no different whatsoever. If we're recording videos, which we can edit, we can have a play with, it is no different. So it is a case of leveling up, increasing our self-esteem. And you know what, the more videos we do, the more content we create, the more of these things that we make and do, our confidence will soar with it. If I look back at some of the videos that I did and some of the content that I created when I first started out, it's a bit cringeworthy. My first logos, things like that. This is how we develop. That's how our brand and everything and about us will develop and grow. And that is exactly what it's all about. So my point here is that yes, you can. So you might be sitting there thinking, oh, okay, right, I'm going to make a plan, which you're going to do today as well, believe it or not. But how can I do it? I'm going to help with that as well. My point here is that absolutely every single one of you out there can make a difference and should make a difference. It's been an absolute grueler of a time, but we're all coming out the other end, okay? We're all coming out in different ways and we're here to support each other. That's why these webinars are so important. So yes, you can. This is what I'm saying to you guys today. You absolutely 100% can. But how can we do it? That's what we need to explore. And that's why you're here, hopefully. Communication. So communication is key. These webinars I love, but when things go wrong and I don't get the interaction, it does throw me over the edge a little bit. But what we do is we improvise, okay? So how would you normally communicate with these clients? So these clients that you see face-to-face when your clinics and your salons are open, how would you normally communicate with them? Would you just see them when they come in for their appointment? Would you converse with them digitally before and after their appointments? Yeah, we probably do. That's our scheduling system that does that for us. The only thing, you know, we might communicate with newsletters, we might communicate with email, you know, like MailChimp or something like that. We may communicate with them in different ways and keep them coming back. How do we keep our clients from coming back? What has changed? Nothing. Well, one thing has changed, and that's the face-to-face element. We don't have the option for the face-to-face element anymore. What we do have is the ability to communicate in other ways, and that's what I want to explore a little bit later on as we go through this. The main thing that's changed, there's one thing that's changed, believe it or not. I know it feels like a lot more, and the weight of the world on our shoulders, but it's the face-to-face element that's changed. The rest of it is still there. Our education, our knowledge, the help that we can provide to a certain extent is still there. So how can we adapt that? Some of us probably already have. Some of us have probably started to put things out there already and realize that you have the opportunity to communicate with your clients in these ways. If you haven't, then don't worry, that's what we're here for today. If you have, then you still may find that you'll learn something from this as well. So please do keep tuned in. So this is the quick fire marketing roundup, and believe it or not, it will be quite quick fire. I'll try my best, but as you've seen already, I do like to waffle. Okay, so here's the news flash. We are not selling in anything that we do. What we are doing is providing a solution. So with your pen and paper, I want you to make some notes, or your iPad, or whatever it is that we're doing, and what solutions you provide for your patients, your clients, the people that come to see you. What solutions do you provide? Because that's really important. So we need to kind of ditch this selling aspect. It's really, really difficult, especially in the climate that we're in, to think about selling something right now, because people have bigger fish to fry. You know, people are worried about more, you know, bigger things on the other side of this. But what solutions do we provide? That's the first port of call for us to write down and note. Okay, so it may be a list of treatments that you can offer. But what I want you to do when you're thinking about these treatments is think about features and benefits. When I say features and benefits, I want you to think about what they will get out of their time with you. So what solutions do you provide, and what will they get out of that time? So features and benefits. Literally, you can write a list of the things that you can do, the information that you can provide, the opportunity that you have, the products that you can forward to help, in particular, home care, and what they will get out of that time with you. A big one for me here is if your price list is self-explanatory. So I've reinvented my price list over the lockdown because it served a purpose last time. It was okay. But what I found is my price list didn't reflect the features and benefits. It didn't reflect what solutions I provide. And although I'm preaching this, I wasn't practicing it myself. So there we are. So we need to obviously make sure that we're providing solutions to what it is that they're looking for. Okay, really, really important. So is your price list self-explanatory? Do people know what a chemical peel is? Do people know what these treatments are? Probably not. They will be told by a friend of a friend potentially that they had X, Y, and Z, and this treatment worked because of this, that, and the other. Okay, but if we are providing solutions, an example of this will be red skin, spots, blemishes, discoloration, lots and lots of things that we can think about that we can potentially help with as well. Okay. So that's an important point to remember. So when we're thinking about this, we need to remember identity. So what is your business's identity? So with your pen and paper now, what is it that you do? What do you provide? Does your business in the name, in the logo, whatever it is that you have, actually say what you provide? Is it the perfect identity to say what it is that you do? So what solutions you have? Can people see that from the very first time they look at your logo and your branding? That's quite important. I'm doing some edits to mine at the minute because when I was putting things together, I realized that, you know what, I'm the biggest hypocrite going. But what is your business's identity? What about the identity of your avatar? And I don't mean the blue people on that film that cost multi-million dollars. I mean your customers. So what is the identity of your customers? You may have a variety of customer. So you need to be writing all of this down. You need to write down the different types of customers you have and all the different solutions that you can offer them with the treatments that you have as well. Yes, we need to wait till we can open to provide professional treatment, but we have a massive opportunity with home care and getting people in good habits and good compliance ahead of us opening again and offering these professional treatments. Because when that does happen, if they've already started with home care, then the results are going to be even better. And that is something that we can express across to our clients right now. So again, with this, what treatments can they identify they might need or want? So we're thinking about business identity. Does it shout about what we do? We're thinking about the sort of clients that we see. So we may look at the area we work in. We may look at our previous client lists and the sort of clients that we had coming through. We may look at the sort of clients we want to try and hit with the treatments that we offer. And that's where you need to think about those clients individually and a solution for each one. And it's a very broad way of doing things, but that is how you can potentially get your marketing right. And you can plan. You can do a 2-week plan of hitting a certain avatar, a certain type of customer. Then the next 2 weeks, the next type of customer. So who is it that you want to try and hit with these solutions? It's not about selling. It's about providing the solutions for the treatment, for the options that they might be looking for. So we can do that by identifying ourselves, how we can actually help. And that will come perhaps with a little bit of market research. So we can communicate, which is going to come in shortly, with our clients. We may have a client database. We can ask them how we can help. I'm already getting the messages through, I need this, I need that, I want this, I want that. I don't know what I want first. So we can now utilize that as it's coming through and talk to them about that and help them and guide them. But how can we do that? And how can we communicate this? That's what we're going to find out. So how can we communicate all of these identity with our clients? The single most powerful tool in your toolbox is a story. Okay, stories sell. And I'm not just talking about Facebook, Instagram and Facebook stories, even though they are pretty good at snapping attention from potential customers as well. But stories sell. So people want to know a little bit more about you, about why they should choose you. And that's where your identity comes in. And that's why it's so important. So if you look back at the sort of things you purchased from in the past, you personally, then what is it that engaged you initially? Was it a story that was told? Was it something that, you know, that stood out to you? So stories are the biggest selling point within any toolbox, okay? And that is really important to remember. So we're not thinking about selling. I know we've said this already, but by telling a story of a solution that we provide for a certain customer that we have in a certain condition that they might be presenting with, or a concern that they have, and we produce a story from that, you think about that content and that goal that you have. So on your piece of paper, you should now have your branding and your identity. You should have a list of your potential clients and avatars that you might have, the solutions that you can provide them, and the types of stories that you can tell about these sort of treatments that you can potentially offer. So do you have success stories from clients in the past? Of course we have, we all have. You might not have documented it well because you didn't think you'd ever need it again at this sort of time, and you thought you'd have this constant flow of before and after pictures, but that doesn't matter. You know, pick up the phone, pick up a camera and talk to people about this. Do video testimonials, so a story of somebody telling your potential new customers, or these clients that we already have, their own testimony around your treatments that they've had with you. That will sell. That is the biggest selling point, and that's a perfect example of somebody telling a story that's successful. Now, I'm just going to have a drink because I'm starting to get a little bit claggy. Just bear with me 1 second. I can't believe I've just said claggy on a webinar. But hey, that's how we roll today. So stories 100% do sell. So are you willing to go that extra mile? So a little bit about my story now, because you're like, who's this bird waffling on at me about selling, about solutions, about avatars and blue people? No, we're not talking about that. That's a posh marketing word for customers, avatars. Remember that one. So I was lucky enough in 2019, before everything went completely wrong, to head out to LA. So I went off to Hollywood. This is the queue of traffic. Is a 3 mile, well, about 6 mile queue into LA on the main roads. And it used to take around about 3 hours to do about 6 miles. So if anybody's ever lucky enough to go, then try and avoid the roads. But I like to kind of throw this in because it just breaks the webinar up a little bit. But a little bit about me. I do actually have my own aesthetic and skin clinic. Originally, I was a beauty therapist. I then went on to do dental nursing. I then went on to university to be a dental therapist, a dental hygienist. I've now just started a master's in cosmetic medicine and aesthetic medicine as well. So I'm very excited about that, and albeit very busy, but I'm super, super happy to be talking to you guys today all about this. So hopefully you're starting to make some notes and build a little bit of a plan to move forward from this. So anyone that ever goes to LA, take appropriate footwear if you want to get up to this Hollywood sign. It's a bit of a hike, just remember that one. So how are we going to do this? We're going to arm ourselves with the tools to supply these solutions, okay? Remember, we're not selling. We are providing solutions to our potential avatars and clients, okay? We're going to do that via communication. A big thing is learning to adapt and never settling, okay? So We might be very excited about the potential of the 12th of April. I know I am. But at that point, when we open, are we going to settle back to how we were, or are we going to do things differently? Because now is the time to make a plan. I know I'm going to be doing things differently. I know I've learned a lot about myself over the last year and a half as well. So that's really, really important to get that set in stone, so we don't revert back to our old ways. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but how can we adapt and grow with the times? We need to find our comfort zone, which some of us might be in already because we've been used to what we've been doing over the last year and a half. We need to then push past it, and then we need to repeat. So when we're starting to feel comfortable, happy with what we're doing, we then scramble it up like an egg and we start all over again. That is my biggest bit of advice to you, and something that I personally like to do. Definitely scramble my life up like an egg quite often, but then it kind of re-engages you into what it is that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go with things as well. So how are we going to get consultation savvy? So, okay, stop press. The 12th of April means we don't need to get virtual savvy now, do we? Not anymore, because we're going back to face-to-face. Wrong. We should learn to adapt and continue to do this to help our businesses grow. So just because we have a potential date in mind does not mean, and I'm not saying you're going to be doing this, but we need to be super savvy and ready, because we want even more customers to be coming through the door. We need to know what we're going to be doing to them when they're coming in. We might already know, but this is where your virtual consultations and becoming savvy with those is optimum and a super, super good idea. So let's have a look how we can do that. Again, this is a quick fire tip. So this is why I need you to be writing things down, because it is difficult. What I would normally do in a longer webinar is I would do screen shares and show you. I don't do that because there's too many things live on this and I don't want it to go wrong. So we're going to talk about it instead. So you've all logged into this potential Zoom, or you might be on the Instagram feed, you might be on the Facebook feed. I'm not sure how it is that you're watching me right now, but hello, thank you for joining me. So we're talking about Zoom. Zoom is free. We probably all zoomed out at the minute because of everything that's been going on, but deal with it, okay? So Zoom is an amazing tool to talk to our clients, okay? It is something that we are all pretty much more used to now. I mean, weekly quizzes on Zooms, whatever it is that we're doing, work meeting on Zooms, homeschooling on Zooms, there's literally no excuses, okay? You get, I think it's 40 minutes or 45 minutes free with a normal account. So you can set meetings up that are going to last 40 to 45 minutes. And that is ultimately all that you are doing. So what I would suggest with your pen and paper, your potential future clients, the ones that we're going to welcome back with loving arms on the 12th of April, we invite them back before. We do a 45-minute or a 20-minute, 10-minute, whatever it is that we want to offer them, virtual consultation. We do a check-in. We see how they are, how we can help them moving forward from April, and we cannot wait to see them again, hopefully in April. If not, what are your main concerns? What are you coming to see me for in April? And how can I help right now? I am in a brilliant position with a bit more time on my hands right now, and I would love to help you before April and think about things we can do with home care and all of the rest. It might just be advice. You know, we've got lots of tools available to us at the moment. In particular, you know, the other Shop Beautiful webinars, I know Professional Beauty have done some cracking webinars with content. I was watching one just this morning, actually, on melasma. We've got all this information fresh in our mind that we can potentially give out to our clients, okay? So there's your Zoom. That's what you can do with it. So if you haven't already, register your Zoom, set up a profile, stick your clinic picture on there, call it something fancy, make it sort of sure it's identifiable for your brand as well. Now, if you want to be super savvy, you can do a Calendly or Acuity calendar scheduler. What are you talking about, Annette? That makes no sense. Try saying it with a fixed appliance in your mouth. I've got a brace at the moment, so that's what I'm talking about. So how can we make it super slick? With an appointment system, we might already be able to do that. So, you know, I use Fresher at my clinic. I know there are other ones out there as well. And you might have one that you are happy to send appointments out with. So there's nothing to stop you using your regular appointment system to build an appointment for these people, to connect with them. Say, you know what, how have you been? What's been going on? Reconnect with your future clients and your past clients and potentially new clients as well. So if you have a little look, these are payable, okay? So this is why, you know, it's something you might want to develop to, something you might want to work towards. I use it and it is amazing. So you're more than welcome to have a little look, and you'll know what I mean. If you go onto my Instagram, in fact, Professional Beauty do it as well. They use something called a link maker, a link tree or BitLink on Instagram. So you can actually provide all your links to make an appointment, to your price list, to whatever it might be, by clicking on the link in the bio. So you'll see that on a lot of posts as well. So you become digital savvy in that way. It's important to be accessible. How accessible are you? So you might have all these things in place, but people struggle to find them where they need to be. So it's about being organized and thinking about that. It's about being more accessible when we're actually physically less accessible, but we want people to be able to utilize us and find us at this point in time as well. Instant messages, you know, I'm a nightmare because I do reply at silly o'clock because I'm a night owl anyway, but in order to survive, and we know that we need our 8 hours sleep, and we know that we need optimum sleep between the hours of 11 and 2, because that's when our skin cell turnover is at an optimum, right? So that's why we need to set something up like an instant message response. Are they annoying? Sometimes. Can you set it up right? You can use something called a message bot. Okay, so if you type that into Google, write this down, you can set message bots up. There are free options, free platforms out there that you can utilize. So it looks like somebody's at the end of it all the time and they answer and respond to it. And sometimes that's what our clients are looking for, that instantaneous response. You can obviously catch up with it the next morning, but it looks like, you know, you are interested in their concern, their problem. What you can do is be super savvy. And then with the instant message bot, if they say they have a skin concern they want to discuss, you can then provide a link to send them to make that Zoom appointment via something like Calendly or Schedule or Acuity. Okay, so that is the way of thinking about doing things super savvy, but don't stress, you'll build yourself up to that. And that's certainly something that we can all do. Something else which is amazing, I absolutely love it, is Canva. Okay, if you have a look on the App Store or also have a look at the desktop version, there is a product called Canva that you can have. It's a free download, or it's a free online program that you can use, but there is a premium option. I would suggest, I know there are other things out there, this is what I use, so this is what I'm telling you about. I would suggest upgrading, because the amount of pictures and images that you have is unbelievable. And then you can then do that content creation, whether it's videos, whether you want to, you know, do your new logo to improve the identity for your clients, whether you want to, you know, put a post out there to resonate with a certain avatar and a certain solution that you want to provide, then you can use Canva to do just that as well. The other thing you can do while we have this downtime is nip into our clinics. We can create treatment videos. So we might not be able to physically do a treatment on somebody unless you've got a partner or someone you can drag in along with you. We can do simple videos and explanations. I know some of you already said that your face is like this when you've got to do an online video, but there's nothing like practicing. Okay, so get it out there and just share it. You know, you are used to working in the public eye. You've got to get past this phobia about video content and get it out there and shared. It doesn't have to be the slick thing ever. It's personable, it's identifiable to you. Your clients who you already have love you. There's a reason they keep coming back to you. So they'll want to see you. They'll be happy to see your face on social media, on a video, on a little email link that you might send them, however it is that you do it. Okay. So these are just a few things that you can do to make yourself a little bit more accessible at this moment in time. We are nearly there, guys. I know that we're running over a little bit, but that's normal with me. What can I talk about? So you start to think, all right, I like the idea of this, but what actually can I show and what can I talk about? What if nobody likes it? Who cares? You liked it. That's why you put it out there. Okay. Let's have a little look at skin for a moment. How many things can we choose to talk about in relation to skin alone that's non-branded? We can obviously link it to some branding and products that we might sell with solutions to their concerns. But we can make it subliminal to these treatments, to these products, and we can offer them solutions. I use this slide a lot in my webinars. Just make sure it's all working properly. We've got fancy arrows coming up a minute. Boom, there we go. So how the skin works. We can tell and educate our clients about the protection of the skin, how skin helps us with sensation, heat regulation, the control of evaporation. You know, if you caught the professional beauty webinar about melasma, I think it was yesterday or the day before, this is just amazing content that you have on demand that you can create solutions for, and you can create the content to share with your clients and potential new clients. A big one here is stress. Okay, so stress and skin, that's a huge connection. And the way our skin feels and looks can be instigated by stress. And that is something we are all going through at the moment. So something that absolutely every single one of our clients can resonate with. So hopefully you've taken some nuggets from this. We can create these educational content posts. We can come back with a bang. We need to work on our self-esteem. You know, how we can do that is by doing all these little things and giving yourself a pat on the back when you've done it. You know, it might be something you've never done before. You might be quite confident with it, but you're going to flip it on its head now and think outside the box a little bit and come out of this the other side even stronger. Okay, I love it, Annette, but where do I start? This is where I used to cringe at school when the teacher used to say to me, right, guys, we're going to do a SWOT analysis today. Oh, really? And now I am an absolute SWOT lover. Literally, SWOT analysis all day long. Can't believe I said literally, but I did. I'm going to say it again. So a SWOT analysis, we look at our strengths. We've all got them. It might not feel like it right now. We write them down. That's something else for you to write down today. You look at your weaknesses and you make them opportunities. Okay, so your weaknesses, you can create an opportunity from. Your opportunities may well be your weaknesses and your threat. So we all know there's one big threat right now, and that's that we can't do face-to-face. But hopefully what we've learned by this webinar is it's not all that. There's so much we can do alongside face-to-face, and we need to carry on once we reopen. We may be that busy, we might not have time to do it, and we'll have other people that can help us doing it as well. But by putting things in order and analysing it in this way, we can look at our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and the threats that may present us. So remember, if we write a great big long list down and we've got lots of weaknesses, we then make them an opportunity. So, you know, I can't think of an example of a weakness right now. I've got one, that you don't like doing Facebook Live videos, okay? Well, there you go then. That's your first opportunity, is to create a Facebook Live video. You don't know what content to put out there. That's another weakness. So your opportunity is to create some content from some webinars or some education that you've put yourself in front of over the last few weeks and months, okay? So a SWOT analysis is an amazing tool. There's loads of free templates. And honestly, once you've got this down on pen and paper, it does make a big difference. So stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited of what could go right. Okay, it doesn't get much worse than this right now. And the only way is up from this. So let's get excited about what is to come. Let's get excited about all these things that we can potentially now offer, even before we're open, before this date. You know, we've been given a date. We don't know if it is or if it's not, if it's going to be taken away. You know, if it is, we deal with that. We stop being afraid of what can go wrong, and we actually start getting excited about the things that we can now implement and be in control of. That's important. This is a big one for me. Supporting another person's success won't ever dampen yours. In this industry, I find it quite a challenge that there's so many people sniping at other people. I try and rise above, and the best thing you can do is share what other people are doing. There is, I know you're kind of thinking, but that's my livelihood. I get you, I hear what you're saying, but by sharing what other people are doing, there's plenty of people out there. You have your own unique selling point as your clinic, as your identity. People will choose to have treatments with who they want to have treatments with. So it's how you come across. So supporting other people's success will never dampen yours, because you'll do it in your own style, in your own way. So please do come together, use webinars like this, network with other people on them. So there might be chats going on, hopefully, on Facebook and Instagram, or banter going on around this, like, what's Annette talking about? I'm so excited to do my SWOT analysis. Network with these people, add them as a friend, talk to them, see how they are. Just, you know, we've all been through the mill, and it is very important to be kind, and be kind to other people and everybody else. And this is one to just close with. We can't choose when we are born, but we can choose when to say we have arrived. And there's nothing more true than that. So we may have had an amazing business in the past and be really anxious about getting things back to where it was. But my point here is we are still here, and there are still things that we can be doing and pushing out there. And I cannot wait to see this content and what it is that you're going to create, because you're all going to tag me in it. Hopefully you've all got hordes of paper that you've written down today and you feel inspired and ready to go. If you do have any questions about a certain, programs and software, I can help you as much as I can, but it is literally all over the internet for you to have a look at and utilize as well. But I'm here for that as well. So what we can offer now: free virtual skin consultations for clients, new clients and old. We can focus on home care, absolutely 110%, and or just seeing how they are and what they are planning to have when we can reopen again. So you have everything in mind. We can explain treatment options, we can educate our clients, we can create tutorials, we can talk about new products, we can talk about all the treatments that are available, we can talk about all the things that we've learned both about ourselves and how we want to move our business forward at the end of this pandemic, or there's never going to be an end to it, but you know what I'm talking about. A little bit of a sneaky one: I am an ambassador for Skin, and they have an amazing accreditation for skin cancer and melanoma detection. If you don't have this already, working with skincare, you need to have this on board. So do give them a little bit of a shout out and a bit of a look as well. This is the sunset at Santa Maria, I can't even say it, the pier, Santa Monica Pier in LA, and I was very lucky enough to go there. And we're going to close with that, I think, because we are absolutely limitless in business. The sky is the limit. It continues on and on and on. There is going to be an end to this eventually, and we can be excelling even before the end, and we can literally just get out there and do what we need to do. I do hope you've enjoyed today, and I will now go to questions. And thank you everybody for listening. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing lots and lots of tags and things a bit later on.
Annette, thank you so much for that. That was really, really brilliant. So we have a few minutes left. If anybody does have any questions, I'll try and squeeze in as many as I can. But I guess something that came up that's been really interesting is about how can you get your team motivated to take part in Facebook Lives and things like that, because they also might feel obviously nervous and not have the confidence to do it. So how can you kind of get them on board with it as well?
I think that is a tough one, and obviously it's going to start with self-esteem and getting them to understand and realise that they're already in a public facing role. So they're already seeing, when they're doing their daily job, they're used to seeing people in public. They have the knowledge and the power. So I think more than anything, empower yourself before you then continue to empower others is the best way of doing this. So I know it's tough, but for us that are the leaders out there, we, and if it's your business, you put yourself out there. If you fluff it up, they see, they have a laugh about it, it makes them feel comfortable. Get them to maybe start on something personal. Get them to start, maybe sharing something about their dog walking or whatever it is, to put themselves out there, initially. But I think lead by example more than anything. I know it's hard, but lead by example.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I guess as well, people have been asking some questions about when you're doing these Facebook Lives, obviously for treatment demos or talking about some of the solutions you offer, or just a little bit about your business's background. How long should these kind of be? What kind of time length should they be looking on these?
The best way to answer that is, I put videos on that are an hour long, and I always see a boost in my analytics afterwards. But it's dependent on the message that you want to get across. From experience, if you're talking about certain treatments, you want it to be quite quick and quite quirky. If you're talking about something that's education wise, if you want to educate people around acne and the options that you have for them, you might want to take a little bit more time. But what you could do is kind of chapters. So you could create a series. So you're not waffling on for too long. You're just creating short fire chapters that you can fire out there once a week and keep people engaged that way. We know video content, usually we attract attention within the first 3 seconds. If you've not done that, then potentially they're going to move on. So it's that very first bit you've got to keep snappy. And once you've done that, you've got them on board and they've come to you because they have an interest in it. Hopefully you've targeted it in the right way. And then you've got them ultimately as well, because you're providing that solution from it.
Yeah, definitely. And we had another question as well about, because obviously you touched upon direct messaging and obviously responding to people. Obviously, lots of people are working from home at the moment or are furloughed because of the situation. How quickly should salons and beauty therapists be looking to respond to these people? Like, are people expecting faster responses on direct messages at the moment because of the situation we're in?
That's why I think you need to definitely consider something like a message bot, because if you can't be at the end of the phone or the end of a message straight away, you've got something that looks like somebody who actually cares about somebody's concern, or whatever it is that they've messaged you about. I think an automated response is a minimum, but I think if you have a message bot so they can kind of drop keywords in, and then you can then guide them to a certain page or guide them to that virtual consultation booking. I would say the average time, I just take myself as an example. If I'm messaging for something and I don't get an answer quite quickly, I sometimes, and most often, move on to the next person. And I think we're all guilty of this. So if we think of it like that, then we need to have a response pretty much straight away, in my opinion.
Yeah. And obviously, I think confidence is like one of the biggest kind of issues about doing this. I mean, even us at PB, we've been doing it for a year now solidly, and we still have mess ups and feel nervous every time. And I guess as well, it's just about, people asking like, what are some of the no-nos you shouldn't be doing when you're doing these videos? Is there anything particularly you should not do that's bad practice?
So if I look back around about a year and a half ago, I got asked to do a podcast with a fellow colleague of mine. And I know I just did it then. So I listened to it in the car a few times afterwards, and I so many times, I was like, please delete the podcast, like, please delete the podcast. But now it's a standing joke, because I know I do it. We all have these moments where we forget what we're saying. The best thing you can do is relax into it. The big thing that we talked about today was identity, and being you and your unique selling point. Your clients already come to you because they love you and they appreciate you and everything that you've done and do for them. So don't stress out about not being the next, you look at other people and think, oh my God, they've done such a better job of it. It's not about that. It's about being you and coming across as yourself. I cannot stress that more than anything, because that's what people want. They're coming to you because they want it from you.
Yeah, I guess the main thing is it's kind of really got to reflect your personality, hasn't it? Because I guess if you're trying too hard to make yourself come across in a certain way, it could look quite robotic or not feel like they're talking to a friend who they're getting advice from. So I guess it is all about personality.
In 100%. And in terms of the virtual consultation, just pre-arm them with questions. So if you do utilize something like Zoom, and or you utilize the Acuity or the Calendly schedule app, you can create questionnaires that go out to them. So you can have a big dose of information before you've actually even seen that person. And that is something you can help them with, and you can prepare the answers a little bit, so you're not like a rabbit in the headlights when it comes to it. So practice on friends and family, and the same goes for when you're doing a live or a Facebook video or whatever it is. The more you do, it will just flow. But when you first start, you might feel like you've got to read off something. You don't read off anything when you're in your clinics and you've got your clients in front of you. It just comes naturally, and that's because you've done it for so long. And that will happen with a digital aspect as well. And one thing I don't want everybody to do is think, right, well, when I open face-to-face, I won't need to do that anymore. Oh, you will, 110%, because this is the way that it's going to be going, and you're going to be one step ahead of it by getting started now.
Yeah. Well, Annette, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much. We've had so many messages from people on Facebook saying that this has been a really great session, fabulous, really impressed, brilliant session, inspired and motivated. So I think people have really enjoyed it, which is lovely. Just a reminder for everybody who is watching that this session is sponsored by Shop Beautiful, and they are a company passionate about beauty and providing the highest quality products to professional beauty suppliers. There's a link in the Zoom chat, a link in Facebook, so you can go and check them out. And I guess the only other thing I want to make you guys aware of is that we do have our 3-day online event, PB World, kicking off on Sunday, and there is so much free education for those in the beauty, hair, spa and aesthetics market. So make sure you sign up and take advantage of it, because we're going to have some of the biggest names in the industry talking on there too. But Annette, thank you so much. It's been really, really brilliant. And yeah, hope to see you sort of face to face at some point in the future.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. And as I say to everyone, keep your chins up. We've got this. And I look forward to seeing what everybody's up to.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Annette. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.